Jerry, I really like this phrase from the book that says it's not just people experiencing Jesus, it's people expressing Jesus. And when you're expressing Jesus to a hurting world, that really is our job.
Yeah, yeah. We love experience.
We do.
And we search for experience. And that's valid. You know, you have to experience life, and you have to experience your life, and you have to experience Jesus. The Christianity doesn't move from a body of knowledge that you assent to and then decide to follow Jesus. There's a certain amount of it, but basically, you never really know him until you experience him. Once you experience Christ, then you know. Then you begin to understand. So that knowledge follows experience. But experience isn't the end of the line. It's not just, gee, I'm having a good experience.
Sure.
It's that that experience is vehicular, that it has a reason to be. And that's what liberates it from selfishness. That's what liberates Christianity from selfishness. I'm not a Christian because of what I experience. It's so wonderful. Isn't this great? You know, well, yeah, it is. But it's great for a reason.
Sure.
And that's where most religious systems break down. They exist for the happening. And Jesus says, of course, I want to experience a relationship with you. That's the whole point. But I want that relationship to be vehicular. I want you now, because you're experiencing me, to express what that experience is showing you, to express the me that you're experiencing, because it's that experience of him that brings life. I'm in touch with everlasting life through him. I'm learning how to live with God, for heaven's sake, and that's why we were created. So if I can express the kind of God that he is. Jesus expressed the Father. He just didn't come and have nice experiences with the Father and say, oh boy, isn't this a fun experience? He was a vehicle through whom God clearly became known. And that's his intention now, that now there is a whole body of people worldwide that experience God, but through whom God can become known. And that's why I say, you know, the whole point is not getting people to church, getting people to God. The mission of the church, as I understand, is not to get people to God. The mission of the church is to bring God to people, to express this is what he's really like. He's not mean. He's not causing your pain. He's not the one that killed your child. He's not the one that caused your cancer. He's on your side. He's predictably good. He is love. He will never ever be mean to you, ever. Well, I can experience that, but now that I need to express that. I need to be that kind of person filled with him in the world.
And when we find ourselves, which we constantly do, in the middle of a hurting world,
Yeah.
our expression at that moment is what Jesus is doing.
Yeah.
It's what Jesus is wanting to do right then in
Yeah.
that situation.
Yeah. Well, and to have confidence in that.
Right.
And to follow the nudge. You know, we've all had nudges. Just kind of. Well, your nudge got saved. You know, your nudge is redeemed now. And we can do that. And it won't always be God. But I had somebody come and say, would it be okay if I visited so-and-so in a hospital? I said, excuse me? You know, why do you need permission for that? And they said, because in the church I was raised in, we weren't allowed. The pastor or the staff visited the sick. We would turn the name in and they would go visit. I said, wow, you know, we have a visitation committee here too, and you're it.
You're it.
Of course, go. And what we need to understand is that when I do go in His name means in His stead. It's Him coming to you and me. And to understand that. And when it says act in Jesus' name, it means do what He would be doing. And what you are doing, you're doing for Him. Mm-hmm. You know, you're acting as Him. And yeah, it's really important.
That nudge you talked about, the going and being confident in that nudge.
Yeah.
I've found that as I move in the nudge, the confidence builds.
It does.
Because you start to realize what God is doing right now.
And more times than not, it'll get you into really exciting stuff.
Yes.
You know, sometimes it's a dead end, and you say, "Oh, phew, that was sure dumb," but not very often. Yeah. And you know, how does He speak? He doesn't speak out there. He speaks in here.
That's right.
Yeah. And you know, follow the nudge.
Yeah. Again, our God has not left the hurting world. Mm-mm. He's sending us. He's sending us right into this hurting world.
He is so concerned about our pain, and so can I say broken because of our pain. That He will not leave us, and He has designed this remarkable way to be present in our pain.
And that remarkable way is,
if we understand that, you know,
His people.
You know, I went through the whole cancer thing, and just at incredibly crucial times, even when I was, you know, doped out, I'd be aware that somebody came into the room and put their hand on me and said, "Jerry, we really love you, and we're praying for you." And I wasn't even conscious enough to know who they were, but I did understand that was in a very real sense, that was Jesus. Mm-hmm. Putting his hand on me and saying, "Jerry, I love you, and I'm with you." And that's not spooky. You know, I'm not becoming some kind of a heretic here, but He comes to us in one another. This is how His presence is expressed. And that's why it's so tremendously important for Christians to love one another, that we're a loving community. Because if we're not a loving community, then we can never be loving in our community. Mm-hmm. But it's that expression of His love that is really powerful.
That's a great phrase. If we're not a loving community, we can never be loving in our community. Yeah. That's a wonderful phrase. Yeah. Well, that's our job.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And it's our delight. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great.
That's good.